In this video, we're going to go over some of the ins and outs of the automotive industry as far as what financing does in a independent dealership specifically. A lot of times when you're dealing with subprime lenders, a lot of times these lenders have first payment recourse. And the reason why we're going over this is in one of our previous videos when we discussed the fact that we had to buy a vehicle back due to first payment default. There was a lot of comments in the video below where individuals actually referred to never dealing with lenders that have first payment default and never getting caught in that situation and different things like that. And while we respect everybody's opinions and the advice that they share, you know, I don't come on here and try to act as though I know everything about the automotive industry. But I have been in this sector for over 8 years. We've been doing finance in-house here for about 4 years now. And I've learned a decent amount from individuals ahead of me who, you know, run and operate franchise car dealerships and the likes of how to learn and run the back end on the financing side. So I actually here at this dealership, I'm the sales manager, finance manager, GM. So I'm handling the majority of the financing here. And being a moderate sized independent, it takes a lot to sign up with some of the larger lenders, such as Capital One, Ally, Chase Bank, Santander. You know, these larger lenders, you know, it's hard to get a hold of them in-house with our company being a moderate-sized independent. They really want to see a company doing, you know, 35, 40, 45 finance deals a month. Our dealership right now, we're averaging about 25 retail units a month. Some months we do 30, some months we do a little bit less, but they want to see you signing up at least about 25 to 30 finance deals a month. And because of the way that our dealership is established, we do a lot of cash deals, pre-approved loans, and stuff like that. So even when we do like 30 deals a month, you know, about 50-50 of those are pre-approved loans, cash deals, and then the other 50% is, you know, financed in-house with us. So when you're an independent dealer, when you're a moderate size, we have to kind of take the lenders that we can get. So we run a lot of deals through Westlake, Western Funding, Lobel, Strike, Global, PFS. You know, these are a lot of the lenders that we use, United Auto Credit, and the majority of all these lenders are going to have first payment default. Now, as you continue to scale and grow your enterprise as a whole, you know, you're going to be able to get access to larger lenders. So the goal of our company currently is to continue to scale our operations to the point that we can get some of the larger lenders in-house, such as Ally, Capital One, Chase Bank, maybe possibly a Santander or a local credit union like Suncoast Credit Union, Navy Fed, USAA, you know, these different companies that like to do financing deals, but don't have that first payment recourse. So for any of you guys who are tuning in and you're actually interested in the automotive industry and the space as a whole, and you're tuning in for educational videos, I think this one will be a good one for you guys, especially with the comments that we had in the video with the Tesla of us having to repurchase that vehicle after a first payment default and ultimately selling that unit at a $4,000 loss. You know, there's going to be a lot of times in the automotive industry that you're going to lose a little bit of money on some cars, right? I mean, you can't go into it thinking that you're going to be profitable on every single deal that you do. It's all about velocity and scale. We want to turn a larger amount of inventory over, get our product into more customers' hands, scale our company to where we can create the systems and processes to allow us to grow and escalate up into the upper echelons of the financing. And then through that, we'll get access to some of those larger lenders. So that's ultimately our goal. But with this video, I want to kind of cover that first payment recourse. So when you sign these contracts with the financing companies, to be able to get in the door with them, they make you sign contracts and agreement to be able to run those finance transactions in-house inside your facility, even though you have your retail financing license. In the state of Florida, you have to have a separate license through the Office of Financial Regulation for retail financing. So even though you have that license, you got to get signed up with these financing companies. When they sign you up, they give you a lot of stipulations that you have to agree to, or they won't allow you to run financing through their banks with your clients and your customers to put them into your vehicles. And a lot of these companies, they have a first payment default or first payment recourse stipulations in their contract. So you're agreeing to say that if your customer misses or defaults on their first payment, you're agreeing to pay the financing company back 100% of the funds that they have supplied to you. And then you are responsible for then repossessing and reacquiring that vehicle from your client. Now, as a dealership, we do have the opportunity and the right to be able to try to put that client into another financing agreement with a different bank. But a lot of times the reason why we're choosing these banks in the first place is because these deals are subprime deals to begin with. Maybe they have limited or challenged credit. Maybe they have a limited amount of money down to put on the vehicle. And on the vehicle that we actually just took back, we had another first payment default. It was a $5,500 Kia Soul, and the customer, we got them approved with $500 down. Now, some people might say, well, why'd you put a subprime client or a challenged credit client into a vehicle with only $500 down, taking all of that risk? The fact is what we want to do here is we're making judgment calls based upon the volume that we're trying to do as a dealership, trying to turn that piece of inventory, and ultimately on the client who's sitting in front of us. And this specific client, it was a family with a child. They're very respectable. They, good job, different things. So we took the risk on this deal, and unfortunately, due to other external circumstances in their lives, they ultimately missed their first payment. So because they missed their first payment, we then got into a first payment default with the lender. We had to buy the deal back, and therefore we were forced into a position to reacquire and to receive the vehicle back from that client. And this is just a situation. It happens. When we first started doing finance, and I used to try to fight it, kick against the pricks, try to go against the financing company, try to argue for our clients on our clients' behalf, because we really are a service-based company and we really want to serve our clients at a high level. But I've learned through past experiences that if your client misses their first payment, the bank is they're not going to take the deal. It's not going to happen. There's no way or if and or but about it. You're going to have to reacquire that car, and you're going to have to get the vehicle back from your client. And there's just nothing you could do. And in this specific situation, we set them up with this bank because it was the only bank that was willing to take this deal. The client didn't have any more money to put down on the deal, and there was no other bank to hang this deal with. So we just had to reacquire the car, take it back, redetail it, and put it back on the lot. And now we have this vehicle back up and for sale. So for any of you guys who are interested, and this is something that it piques your guys' interest, just understand that when you're a moderate or a smaller independent dealership, a lot of these financing companies that will allow you to sign up with them to run these contracts in-house, they're going to have these first payment recourse, first payment default recourse stipulations inside their contracts. You're going to have to sign them if you want to, get these banks set up within your company to be able to supply your clients with access to financing. And sometimes this situation is going to happen where you just got to buy the deal back. It is what it is. But if we're revolving our deals and we're selling 30 35 deals a month, which is ultimately our goal, if you have one default every couple months that comes up, it's just par for course. You got to accept it, move on, and then put the vehicle back up for sale and get it for sale, take the loss and move on. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope something that I shared with you guys was informational. I hope that it was educational. Make sure that you go down into the comments of this section. Let us know what it is that you want to hear, what you want to see, the things that you're liking on our channel, the things that you're not liking on our channel. And make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Here we're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to add value out into the marketplace and to share insights on with what it's like to be in the automotive industry, the dealership world. And make sure you tune in, because we're going to have a lot more exotic cars coming and a lot more cool videos coming up soon. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You guys have a good one.